Now at 5, a Missouri proposal could boost police recruitment by funding training. Jurors reach a verdict in the trial of a former Minneapolis officer accused of manslaughter, and the technology helping disabled people get a workout.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Missouri lawmakers trying to make it easier for people to join the police force. This is KOIM News at 5. Representative Lane Roberts has pre-filed a bill that, if passed, would take away certain financial barriers to becoming a police officer. Roberts is the former Joplin police chief and says the bill is inspired by his time in that role.
My career started in the early 70s, was also difficult. So the people who really want to do it are not doing it primarily for the money, and they'll do it regardless of the environment, but it does create an inhibitor.
If the bill passes, those who attend the police academy and are employed by a police force for at least 4 years will be able to make a request for reimbursement. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency says it plans to reconsider a decision made under the Trump administration that allowed the state to regulate environmental issues in Indian country. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt had requested the authority last year. The EPA says its decision to reconsider was made after extensive consultation with Oklahoma's 38 federally recognized tribal nations. It noted many of the tribes had concerns with the EPA's previous decision. Neither the governor's office nor the Office of Attorney General John O'Connor immediately responded to a request for comment. Boy, the mild weather, it just goes on and on. Doug Heddy.
Yeah, another mild day for us today. It's a little chilly at first because we have the clouds. We don't have much in the way of sunshine, and it's windy across the region. But still, temperatures right around 60 for us this afternoon. A lot of clouds. We're going to have mostly cloudy skies for us tonight as we are starting to get some weak waves, which are beginning to push through over the next few days. Still, we're sitting into the mid-50s right now as the sun begins to set, but those strong southerly winds all day long for us today, about 15 to 25, and then we've had gusts a little bit higher than that at times, kind of in that 25 to 30 mile per hour range. And in fact, it gets even windier as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow. Kind of holds steady. I think we'll drop back a few degrees and then start to rise toward dawn. We're going to set record highs tomorrow. We're going to blow them out of the water. We're going to talk about that here in just a bit.
Wow. See you soon. Thanks, Jack. Hey, if you want to try your hand at catching one of those giant paddlefish in Missouri next year, you better check the new regulations approved by the state's Conservation Commission. For starters, the statewide minimum length for a keeper will be 32 inches measured from eye to fork. That's up from the current minimum of 24 inches for most areas of the state. These monsters can grow up to 7 feet long, weigh more than 100 pounds. That new regulation and others take effect on February 28th. You can find the new rules at koimnewsnow.com. It's a case you don't see every day. A Central Missouri man is jailed without bond after allegedly using a crossbow to attack a neighbor. Fulton, Missouri police were called to a home to help a 42-year-old man who had been shot in the abdomen with an arrow from a crossbow. The man is hospitalized, but a news release from police did not offer details about his condition. Investigators say a 63-year-old got into a verbal altercation with the victim before using his crossbow to attack him. Formal charges had not been filed as of early today. A former Minnesota police officer charged with manslaughter for mistakenly using her gun instead of a taser to subdue a suspect is found guilty in the death of Dante Wright. Reporter Frank Vascalero has the latest from Minneapolis.
Find the defendant guilty.
Kim Potter glanced down briefly, her attorney's hand on her shoulder as the judge delivered its verdict. The former police officer found guilty of both first and second-degree manslaughter in the fatal shooting of a young black driver in April.
Members of the jury, is this your true and correct verdict? So say you one, and so say you all.
Yes.
During closing arguments, the prosecutor called Potter reckless and culpable.
Safe handling of a firearm does not include firing it into a car with 4 people directly in harm's way.
Potter's defense insisted she made a deadly mistake, pulling her Glock pistol when she thought she was grabbing a taser and then firing a single bullet into Dante Wright's chest.
How can you recklessly, consciously handle a gun if you don't know you have it?
I'm sorry it happened.
Potter sobbed on the stand as she testified in her own defense.
I remember yelling, "Taser, taser, taser," and nothing happened. And then he told me I shot him.
Potter had been a highly regarded 26-year veteran of the Brooklyn Center Police Force before the April shooting. The judge ordered her held without bail until sentencing in February. Frank Vassalero, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Potter faces about 7 years in prison on the most serious count under the state's sentencing guidelines, but prosecutors say they'll seek a longer term. Still ahead, a financial break.
The White House announces additional relief for tens of millions of Americans with student loans. I'm Natalie Brand with details on the extension and what borrowers should know.
And next in Health Watch, the technology helping the disabled get exercise at the gym. Topping today's Health Watch, COVID patients who also suffer from high blood pressure, obesity, or diabetes are much more likely to die from the virus. An international study by the Mayo Clinic examined records from 46,000 patients in 26 countries and found patients with symptoms associated with metabolic syndrome, even mild obesity, were 30% more likely to be hospitalized for COVID-19 and 20% more likely to die. More than a third of all Americans have high blood pressure, obesity, or diabetes associated with a metabolic syndrome. How prepared healthcare workers are to treat COVID varies greatly depending on training and financial factors. PLOS One studied workers in 57 countries and found doctors and nurses in countries with less wealth were less prepared to fight COVID. Women also ranked lower on preparedness tests. Experts say more work needs to be done to make sure healthcare worker training is equitable across genders and backgrounds. People who work with formaldehyde are at risk of cognitive impairment later in life. That's the finding of new research published by the American Academy of Neurology. Nurses, carpenters, cleaners, and many factory workers use formaldehyde in their jobs. Exposure was found to raise the risk of critical thinking and memory problems by 17%. Formaldehyde has already been linked to certain cancers. Every year, more than 17,000 people in the U.S. suffer a spinal cord injury. And spinal cord injuries are one of the leading causes of paralysis. Those who require a wheelchair for the rest of their lives may find getting regular physical fitness can be a challenge, but new technology is helping them break a sweat. Whether it's surfing, dancing, or working out, Amanda Perla loves to live a fast-paced life.
I was always a very adventurous, active person.
But during her senior year of high school, a car accident brought a screeching halt to her active lifestyle.
I was told that I had broken my neck and suffered a spinal cord injury, and that I was going to be quadriplegic and in a wheelchair for the rest of my life.
There's plenty of secondary complications that can occur just from being seated in a wheelchair for a long period of time. A lot of pain, pressure sores, lack of blood circulation in individuals' bodies. All these things can diminish life expectancy.
So physical fitness is important. Not many gyms are equipped for people in wheelchairs. That's why Amanda and her mother decided to launch Next Step Orlando. It's part of a network of rehab facilities around the country specializing in the fitness needs of those with paralysis. Using adaptive gym equipment such as the VitaGlide, paralysis is not a hindrance to staying active.
So reach forward, extend, pull back. We're trying to push those boundaries.
The machines allow wheelchair users to adopt an exercise routine that can build up strength to transfer in and out of the wheelchair, to bathe and get in and out of the car. They also allow users to do what they thought they could never do again.
Just to look in the mirror and see yourself walking again is huge. Human beings aren't meant to be sitting all day. We're meant to be upright. We're meant to be moving.
Besides spinal cord injuries, the facilities also help those recovering from other neurological conditions such as stroke, multiple sclerosis, traumatic brain injuries, and cerebral palsy. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, the latest numbers on new unemployment filings.
Plus, we're headed toward record highs for Christmas Eve. We're going to check that out coming up. Well, Well, it turned out to be another mild day for us today. Temperatures right around 60 degrees. It felt a little bit cooler because we didn't have the sun and it was windy. It's going to stay windy through the overnight hours tonight into tomorrow, but we are going to press, if not break, record highs easily for us tomorrow on Christmas Eve. We do have a system on Sunday, still watching for snow chances around New Year's Eve. And of course, you can always get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog. That is KOAMnewsnow.com. But look at this month. This is crazy. This has really been a big story as we got deeper into winter, or of course December, as our temperatures have been so warm, and we're going to warm up even more throughout the daytime hours tomorrow. Most of us are sitting into the mid-50s. We'll drop back near 50. Then we're going to start to rise through the overnight hours tonight as southerly winds will start to increase even more. It's been windy all day long today, about 10 to 20, but at times we've been getting gusts kind of in that 25 to 30 mile per hour range. So it's going to stay pretty breezy as we go through the overnight hours. 7th of the range line right now, we do have a few clouds sneaking through. 55 south winds at 10, humidity is at 77%. Temperatures through the evening drop a little and then start to rise late this evening into the morning hours for us tomorrow. All right, a lot of clouds kind of streaming through. We have a couple weak little waves which are pushing through. Really no moisture, so all we are seeing are the clouds across the region. Out to the west, we have the beginnings of our next couple waves, and also notice how the jet stream dips way down into California. That is something we haven't seen in several weeks, so this part of the pattern gets much more active as we go through the next few weeks. Let's go through time. We drop back, watch temperatures rise toward dawn to near 60. We'll have mostly cloudy skies in the morning, some sunshine during the afternoon, but our temperatures really shoot up there. We should be at 72 by noon, high temp of 76. There may be our western counties that push 80 tomorrow afternoon, which is absolutely crazy. For us tomorrow night, clouds increase again, showers, a few popping up in our northern counties, and then this all pushes east by Saturday morning. But when you wake up Christmas morning, we're going to be into the mid-60s, which is crazy. A cold front does sink in, but still our high temps on Christmas Day are going to be into the mid-60s, and then clouds increase again ahead of our next storm system, which is going to roll in on Sunday. Very windy as well, winds gusting over 40 for us at times during the daytime hours tomorrow, so a very windy day. All right, let's go back to Sunday. Some showers, maybe a few random thunderstorms. This system works through. Here we go again on Tuesday. Some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms, and then into Wednesday and Thursday, here comes an Arctic front. We'll have to see how far that Arctic air sinks south. It lifts back toward the north by the time we head into Friday, and then we get showers and thunderstorms right back in by the time we head into Sunday, or Saturday and Sunday, which is New Year's Day. So a lot to watch next week. 76 tomorrow, 62 Saturday, 68 on Sunday. All those chances for rain next week, and then let's go into New Year's. Might as well. Look at January 2nd. High temp at 28, rain and snow.
Wow.
So we got a lot of changes. I mean, wide variety. Yeah.
That's not uncommon for the 4 states, but it's common this time of year.
Yeah,
See that kind
really
of swing. Thanks, Todd. Coming up, an extension on federal student loan repayments. First, though, we recognize a local veteran of the Vietnam War. U.S. Army Corporal Michael Sullivan received a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star for his service in 1966 and 1967. His hometown, Weir, Kansas, and we are proud to salute Corporal Michael Sullivan, a 4-state hero. You can learn about lots of other heroes, thousands of them from all across this area. You can look them up by name or by hometown. You can also submit a hero of your own anytime you like. It's very simple. You just click on the link on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Topping today's Consumer Watch, more good news on the jobs front. Just 205,000 Americans applied for new unemployment benefits last week, a sign the labor market remains competitive across the country, even with the spread of the Omicron variant. The weekly jobless claims number remains near a 52-year low that was set earlier this month. The Biden administration gave an early Christmas present to millions of Americans, another pause on student loan repayments for an additional 90 days. Reporter Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
The White House says the extended pause on federal student loan repayments and interest impacts an estimated 41 million borrowers.
We know some student loan borrowers are still coping with the pandemic and need some time before resuming payments.
Was this expected?
It was welcome. It was really clear that student loan borrowers were not ready to pay their student loan bills if they came due next month.
Mike Pierce of the Student Borrower Protection Center says the student debt crisis existed before the pandemic and is now coupled with economic uncertainty.
Inflation has caused food prices to go up, rent to go up, gas to go up, car payments to go up. And the thought of taking away that financial flexibility, that little measure of security, was too much for people to bear.
The extension announced Wednesday runs through May 1st. The pause started as part of COVID relief under the previous administration. Advocates are pressing to make it permanent. Derek Johnson, the president of the NAACP, tweeted, "If you can afford to pause student loan repayments over and over again, you can afford to cancel it." The Student Borrower Protection Center says student debt has impacted communities of color at far higher rates and spans all ages. Mike Pierce says people need to know their options.
Every single person with a student loan that's been paused has a right under federal law to tie their payment to their income. If you're recently unemployed, or if your spouse has lost their job, or if you've had a big drop in wages because of the pandemic, you might have a right to make a payment that is as low as $0 per month.
The Department of Education says it's ready to work with people to prepare for a transition back into repayment. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
Some Senate Democrats are calling on the president to at least waive interest payments on federal student loans when those repayments do eventually resume. 3 in 4 Americans say their New Year's resolution is to be smarter with their finances. A survey from Slick Deals found many are worried about rising inflation and intend to save more next year, putting away an average of $408 a month. That's up $80 compared to last year. Other plans include paying off debt, cutting unnecessary bills, and using coupons. The U.S. Navy is introducing new paternity uniforms for sailors who are expecting. They're part of a pilot program that starts early next year. The Navy will select 400 pregnant sailors from all around the world who will be issued the clothing free of charge. If the maternity uniforms prove to be a success, more volunteers will be selected. And Americans are up for a little more flavor in 2022, according to a new survey. Roughly a third say they're ready to try lemongrass, hot honey, or tea berry flavored foods in the new year. Some of last year's top flavors were coffee, green tea, and citrus, but the classics endure. 76% said they'd eat healthier foods if only they tasted like chocolate. Only 76%. A final check of the warm Christmas forecast next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, more on legislation that aims to improve recruiting for Missouri police departments. Plus, an actor from a classic holiday movie is arrested in Oklahoma. And local efforts to help those impacted by the December tornado in Arkansas. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Hey, gifts for everyone. Even the animals at the Central London Zoo. A couple of Asiatic lions sniffed out their colorfully wrapped presents, while Lioness Aria carefully picked up her gifts. Banu took delight in rolling around on his boxes scented with nutmeg, cinnamon, and look at this. The zoo's Western lowland gorillas also got in on the fun. They played with their gift-wrapped presents before diving into the boxes to eat the contents that included juicy carrots and tasty Brussels sprouts. Yeah, we all love opening presents, but if mine are filled with carrots and Brussels sprouts, I might not be as excited as those gorillas were.
It's like getting socks and underwear.
I think it's slightly worse.
Yeah, it probably
actually.
is.
Yeah.
I could use some socks, though.
Could you use any Brussels sprouts?
No, none of those. All right, for us tonight, temperatures actually rise near 60 by dawn, 76 tomorrow. Record high is 73, so we should easily break it. 62 on Christmas Day. Rain chances really pick up for us next week.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.